Hey guys, Brian from Winnipeg here, making a Jets late season tier list. I have a couple notes that I made, but I'm mostly just going to wing this. My opinion is based on watching a lot of Jets, big into kind of like the analytical side of the numbers, and just what I'm kind of feeling at the time. These guys are in random order, and yeah, we'll just get started. So Kyle Connor, what do I think about Kyle Connor this year? Injured for a lot of the season. He's still third in points. He's putting up about a point per game. It's hard not to like Cal Connor, but he's not having a huge year. I don't know if he'll ever be a 100-point guy. I think he was a 92-point guy for one of his years, but he's still good to have in the mix. The only thing about Connor is that once again he's a minus this year on a team that's plus 40 goal differential. So the back checking and the hard in the corners thing, he's not really that kind of guy. He's just a finisher, but he still deserves to be an A tier for me. And these guys, I'm not putting them just based on points or based on where they are in the lineup. It's kind of how their season is going compared to how I thought it would be going or projected to be going. New guy, White. You got to put this guy in A as well. He'll probably be a third pairing, but looking at his stats, he was a plus 10 on a New Jersey team that was just brutal. I think he was the only guy with a plus on the team. So it'll be interesting to see where he slots in. Might be a second pairing guy. But good stuff from him so far. Kapari, there's nothing really expected from this guy coming in. He was kind of a throw in with the Velarde Pionk or with the Velarde and Dubois deal. He's fast. He doesn't have a lot of points, but he's pretty young and he could get a lot better. And they have him for another year at 1 million. So not great, but a lot of potential to potentially move up in the lineup or be a really solid bottom six guy. DeMello, you have to put him at S this year. He's leading the team, the plus minus of 30. He's firmly on the first year pairing with Morrissey. He had a snipe tonight against the Ducks. I went to the game against the Preds. He put it off the crossbar at the end. He's up for a contract renewal, so I don't know what this guy would be worth. I think he's getting paid around $3 million now. This guy could be easily like a $6 million guy, and hopefully we can keep him for next year. But just so solid defensively. Perfetti, this guy during the stretch that they had with 34 games with 3 goals or less. He was one of their best guys at about 40, close to 40 games into the league. He was projected to have 60 points. And then he went on like a 15 or 16 game pointless drought. He got one, which was kind of a weird play that was all barren. And he's not doing well. They may have rushed this guy. He didn't play any seasons of junior after his draft year, went straight to pro. Shifley had 2 years in the OHL to keep going. May have been rushed. I don't know what to do with him now. You probably can't send him down to the AHL at this point in his career, but it was just strange how hard he fell off there in the last 15 games. Doesn't look confident. I could talk forever about this guy, but we'll just put him in D for now. Toffoli, I've never been a Toffoli guy. Scores a lot of goals, way more goals than assists, which is good. He's a finisher. This team needs points or needs goals, and he had 2 tonight. And so 26 goals in just over in 50-something games. This guy's like a 35-goal scorer. He's good to have on the team. I don't know if they'll keep him next year, but it's exciting to see what he can do this year and through the playoffs. Another guy that we added before the trade line, Monahan. He's been good. He had the hat, just from that one game where he had the hattie in the first period, like that was crazy. He does have a few goals that are empty netters, so his stats might be padded a bit. But he's so good on the power play, like in that slot area. Good one timer, and this guy was like a point per game guy for a lot of his career. Lots of injuries, and he's picked it back up. And him at the Foley second line, buddies from junior. We'll see what they can do. Schmidt has had an off year, big time. He's been healthy scratched a lot of the time. He makes $6 million. He's an energy guy, right? He's kind of like the energy guy in the room, so he's good to have. But for $6 million guy who's getting scratched half the time, doesn't look as good as he did. I remember when we played him in the 2017-2018 series versus Vegas, and he was all over the ice. He was going end to end. He was crazy out there, but I'm not sure. He's getting older, but he should be performing a lot better than he is now. Nino, you have to like Nino. He's the strongest player on that third line, which may be the best third line in the NHL, in my opinion, with Lowry and Appleton. He had a ton of goals throughout the first kind of half of the year. It's kind of slowed down, but he does get paid quite a bit. $4 million for a third liner guy is a bit, but you know, you just have to like him. He's hard in the corners. He's strong. He was great with Minnesota for so many years, so it's good to have him for sure. Morgan Barron. This guy was a third liner last year, and he was good on the third line, and they have him playing on the fourth line now. Uh, I'll put him at B because he's had a few snipes. He's fast out there. He draws a lot of penalties. He doesn't play a lot of time, but it just goes to show, what kind of forward depth we had that we can have that guy on the fourth line. And we got Vlad Nemestikov. For him, I'm gonna say he was an A. Like he was playing second line for a huge amount of this season, and he's had a lot of snipes. He in his career he hasn't been a second line guy. He's been more of a bottom six kind of character player. But he's had some snipes. He's fast out there, and I just think he's been looking great this year. I have to check Cap Friendly to see if we have him for next year, but especially throughout the 34 games, 3 or less goals. He was putting in points all the time. So he was big during that. And he probably will be kicked out of the top six when we get Velarde back, but still being good. Appleton, I've just never been an Appleton guy. He is the third member of that amazing third line, but to me he's kind of one dimensional. He's fast. He can carry the puck around the net, but I don't think he creates a lot. He has a lot of points, 30 points, but I don't know. I just can't get behind the guy. He doesn't have the best hands. Shot isn't very hard, but for a third line guy, he's okay. But I think he's just having an average year this year. I'll put him at B just for being on that line. He is a part of that third line, so you can put him higher up. Sandberg, really liking Sandberg this year. Ooh, S for Sandberg. I don't know. Yeah, we'll just go A for now. So he is on. Well, the deep pairings have been kind of mashed up, and with White coming in, and it's kind of. Why am I calling him Colin White? It's Colin Miller. I'm totally sorry, guys. This is Miller here, not White. Sandberg. He at one point, like I don't have the advanced stats in front of me, but at one point his goals for a pairing with him and Schmidt, it was him and someone else. They had the best projected, fewest goals against per 60 minutes, and he's being like a huge pick for them. Pretty sure he was the same year as Logan Stanley, and he's way better than Stanley. He's just he's just so strong defensively, and he blocks and he dives, and he's just crazy. Logan Stanley's career has kind of been very meh. He's been in and out of the lineup for the whole year. He's huge. He can fight, but he takes a lot of penalties. The Jets are potentially losing DeMello and Dillon next year, so he'll probably be like a permanent guy on next year's team. And they knew he was a project getting him, and it's been 5 years since his draft year, 2019. But these big guys, Chara, these kind of guys, like they're known for just really taking a while to grow into their frame. And he could be like kind of like this in his career. He could still have a great career, but getting healthy scratched all the time and not being put in the lineup, it just doesn't show that the coaches have a lot of confidence in him right now. Dylan had a great start to the year. He was like, even in fantasy hockey, he was one of the top. He was up there in points just because he had so many snipes and he blocked so many shots and did so many hits. And he's really good on the second line there with Pionk. Not much more you can ask for this guy. I just feel like he's been really good this year, and really solid defensively. The Jets are the best defensive team in the league, probably most because of Hellebuck, but they do have a lot of great team ends, so he's going to go A. Iafallo's been okay. He's being asked to play in the top six a lot. He's never been a top six guy in his career. He's more of a kind of like a 20 to 30 point guy, maybe 40 points playing on the third line. And just due to injuries and the way that our team kind of came into the season, he's been asked to play a lot more minutes. And he's had a lot of nice tips, but he's just he's just kind of gone cold. Well, yeah, he had a nice tip there the other night, but he's kind of gone cold, in my opinion. And he's still nice to have on the team for that Dubois trade, but I don't know. He's going C for now. Lowry, the captain, yes, he's going Esther. So he's the leader. He's the center on that third line, which is an amazing third line. You know, he grinds, he fights. He's the captain. Like, he's having a crazy year. Probably going to be his best year points wise. I don't know. Just after getting the captain, getting the C on the jersey, he's just really stepped it up. And you know, the only real change. Well, there was some personnel change over the season. Dubois getting traded, etc. But giving him the C looks like it was a really smart choice. Pionk, just after looking, someone sent me an advanced stat for him, and his WAR percentage, his wins above replacement, was 7%. It was the worst on the team. So that's basically saying he's like 7% better than a random AHL D man that you could pick up. Like he's not playing first power play. He hasn't played first power play for a while, but his points are down. He's not as confident out there. He's not a big guy, so he can't really hit. And just having that WAR percentage of 7% is just like really bad for having a guy that makes $6 million. And yeah, sorry, Pionk, you're down there, buddy. Brossoit. Oh yeah, Brossoit is going way up there. 0.924 save percentage. He basically beat us last year. He was when Aiden Hill and Thompson were out for Vegas. He played pretty much the first whole round and beat us. Had a couple notes here for Brossoit. So just having him on the team has just allowed Hellbuck to rest a lot more. Like Brossoit is going to be over 20 games played, and he was 67 games last year and 66 the year before. No, sorry, 64 last year, 66 the year before. So you're just playing Hellbuck way too much, and having him be so good, and he can just come in whenever. And it just takes a lot of stress off of Hellbuck, and he's just been crazy good. He had a shutout tonight. Morrissey, for him, he's still having a crazy year. He's second in points. He's top pairing with DeMello. This guy was kind of he was a first rounder, like a high first rounder, but over the last 2 years, his game has just gone crazy. And they say Josh Norrisy for a reason. He doesn't put up as many points as some of the top guys, I guess, who would be top right now in the league, like Makar, Quinn Hughes. He doesn't put up those kind of points, but he's just so solid defensively. You just have to like it, and he's really outplaying that contract of $6 million that he's on. I think we have him for like 3 or 4 more years at that. Hellbuck, yeah, you got to put him up there. So one of my buddies in Toronto, if you want to put a bet right now for who's going to win the Vezina, if you were to bet $100 on Hellbuck to win, you would only win $30. The second lowest guy, if you bet 100, you would win $300. So he's like in the eyes of like the gambling world, he's like almost like a clinch to win the Vezina this year. He's been that good. Like he had a rough game versus Preds. Had a rough game versus the Kraken. He's let in a couple, some uncharacteristic goals over the last little while, but he's still the best goalie in the league this year, and he's the main reason why the Jets are where they are right now. Definitely. Okay, almost done. Let's keep going. Ehlers has been okay. He's been firmly on the second line. I really wish he would put him on the first line power play more often, because when he kind of steps in at the top of the circle there and just rips it, like he's got such a hard shot, super accurate. He's third in points, I believe. So he's third in points right now. Like he has had better years where he's more of kind of like a 60, 70 point guy. He looks like he'll be like maybe like a 55, 60 point guy this year, but he's still great. He's slowed down. He's getting older. He used to just grab it and just go end to end and get a shot. He can't really do that now. But he's having an okay year for him. There has been like a real kind of carousel or whatever it's called of just different line mates coming in, and there hasn't been anything to get really set, but it looks like it'll, when we eventually get Vlardy back, I guess, if now after the enlarged spleen, He'll probably be playing Monahan and Toffoli in the second line. That's a great second line. Velarde is out, but for the games he played, you have to put him next year. 30 points, 36 games. He had a 4-point game versus the Kings. Way better. It was something like, he got to 20 points or whatever. It was 25 points in half the games that Dubois did. So even just having him in this spot, even if we just got him and no IFL, no Kapari, where's Kapari? And I think we got a second round pick too. Just crazy moves by Chevy there. If this guy's back for playoffs, Jets are going to be scary. If he's not back, it's kind of it's a little bit shaky. It's kind of scary because then you have to bring one of these guys, Iafallo or potentially Mestikov into a second line spot again. But let's just hope that he's back. But this guy was on point. Well, if he had played 80 games, he would be like a 70-point guy, which is what I had really hoped would happen this year, and it did. And then our most kind of reliable player on the team for the last forever, and I could put him as he is like the point leader on the team. He's having a good year. We'll see how he plays in the playoffs, but he's not having like a crazy year for him. So he is getting older now. He's in his 30s now, but he's having like an average year for himself. So I'm not, this kind of list was kind of put together to say like, what were these guys expected to do? What did they do? And Scheifele kind of, he's fulfilled his role. He's done everything we wanted to do. He didn't go crazy and get like 100 points this year or something like that, which would have been, nuts. Or to see him to get 50 goals after last year. I think he had like 43 goals or kind of mid 40s. So if he had gone and scored like 50 goals this year, like boom. But that's it, guys. And this is my first video, and I'll do more of these. If you guys want me to, I can do some before the playoffs or do them, a few times a year. I like doing it. I'm just kind of screwing around for the most time, just kind of making my own little list here, and I think these are pretty good. Just kind of looking at them now, seeing if I want to change anything. I'll put a lot of guys in S. Usually on these tier lists, you'll have like a couple guys S. But the Jets have been so good this year. Just a lot of guys have been playing way above where they were expected to play coming in. Okay, guys, have a good one.